It's the tip of the sword as we slide from left to right and we take a strip of pasta on pasta attacks with our favourites, don't we, Emma?
Yes, thank you, Phoebe. It's an exciting time. This is the best piece of news that I think we've probably all seen all year. It is pasta versus pasta in a war over a former male stripper doing shirtless acrobatics at a very manly event for manly men organised by a church. No, I did not make any of that up. This is a story from The Stream by Michael Brown on April 16th, 2024. And I think, first of all, Helen and I especially were getting very animated earlier about how amazing this men's conference for manly men is. We have had monster trucks, apparently, and this story is about a professional sword-swallowing acrobat performing at this men's event. And I lament the lack of excitement in women's events. Helen, what the hell's going on?
Well, okay, so those of our audience that are familiar with Mark Driscoll, we have talked about this special man, this very manly man on the show before. And he had a moment where there was a former male stripper that is now a devout Christian, went to this male conference of Christian evangelicals, and he, I don't know if he needs to have a moment with himself about maybe some feelings he was having, that he was upset because this shirtless performer basically called his show a stripper performance by being near a pole, just near it. And he was shirtless. He was just near it.
Are you sure they weren't? Are you sure they weren't Ukrainian or German or Czech or Slovak?
So he was near a metal pole. Or it might have been a pole. I don't know. Either way. And he swallowed a sword, had no shirt off, and Mark Driscoll basically equated it to a sexual performance. Now, I don't know about you. That sounds like a good time. But apparently Mark has some feelings about it. And like I said, I'm like, maybe he needs to come to a RuPaul. He needs to have a come to RuPaul moment. That's basically what I think.
That's who they need next year. That's who they need next year.
Yes, they need a come to RuPaul moment. Which kind of gets into a little bit of the homophobia and these manly man. I have big dick energy that happens at these events. So I would like to hear from Infidel on how he felt about this.
Are you saying that you think that Infidel might have big dick energy?
Yes, so many big dicks.
Infidel is our resident alpha male.
Oh, that's
right.
Know.
That's right.
I am an alpha male.
You have a fucking t-shirt, man.
That makes it official.
Yeah, that's
now.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say
that t-shirt. It says that you're horny.
Well, when I first heard strippers in church, I was like, oh, okay, well, at least they're finally giving something back. But, I was like, I'd have settled for a gift card. But, you take what you can get from a church. But, seriously, Helen, you mentioned Driscoll and his discomfort. He mentioned, it's the spirit of Jezebel up here. And he's building this and took his shirt off, and I half expected to go, and man, did you see that tight ass? But,
did you see that package around the front? Tight ass, good package, Tony Blair and your ball crushing your tight trousers, eat your heart out.
You're right. I would peg Driscoll for a bottom. But having said that, it's really one of those situations where, and it is, it's homophobia all the way. But it's so weird that a bunch of men get together in this godly man kind of way, whatever that nonsense means, because really when it gets down to it, it's the first cousin of purity culture and some type of absolutely unrealistic way to live your life. But, having said that, I do think that it does go right back to what Driscoll did, with him complaining and then, of course, getting shut down. It reminded me of what Helen mentioned, with RuPaul, whatever you do, don't fuck it up. Well, that's pretty much what Driscoll did. Driscoll pretty much broke the rules right there off the top. And I just find it so odd that we're having Christians, once again, having a cat fight out in public between each other about who's more manly than the other man and who did or didn't notice that the other guy's package was showing or not, and all these other completely nonsensical things, while they're ignoring the fact that really they're fighting among themselves because they don't know how to be a real human, much less a man, whatever that means.
As it would be usually said by a person I'm very close to, my wife, it all sounds like, big dicks swinging their big dicks and not knowing that they've got a big dick that they're swinging around here. It all feels like a load of insecure, immature codswallop here. Because, I mean, this is just one of those things which just like, do you not do life in any way, shape or form? Do you struggle to, find enjoyment in life? I mean, what next? You ban male gymnastics because it might be a little bit homoerotic for you. I mean, for goodness sakes, this is just one of those things where I just go, oh, progress comes in small measures. And in some cases, progress comes on the tip of a sword. But, I mean...
just
no matter
the
how
tip,
you,
Phoebe. Just the tip.
all I will say is, no matter how you package this up, I can see that there's going to be a lot of back and forth here, and it's going to get very confusing. But I mean, I just wanted to just delve a little bit more. They tied themselves in knots over this. I mean, at the actual conference, nobody gave two shits what was going on. Some bloke said something later, and then they went, oh, it's the Homer Simpson effect. If anyone has seen that episode of The Simpsons where he is the only person to complain about the movie and then they rewrite the whole movie for him, it's the Homer Simpson effect.
It fully is. I think the funniest thing for me about this whole thing is the author of the article, Michael Brown, who is a radio host. The article is I recommend reading it for a laugh. It's so funny because, he is a big driving force. He claims to have, he went in to do his radio show and he claims the internet was blowing up because of this.
Blowing up about something. Drama. It weren't the internet that was blowing up, though.
Something was blowing up. It was the front of Mark Driscoll's trousers. No, but and the number of times he refers to the performer as a former male stripper, always male stripper, and over again, and he describes the performance as carnal. And then again, we hear later in the article that people who were there said that nobody thought it was sexual at all until Mark Driscoll got up and started complaining about it.
Have none of these people been to a magic show? Have none of these people been to the circus or the carnival?
We should get them all complimentary tickets to Magic Mike. That would be so wonderful.
Yes. If anybody can facilitate that, we will cover it on this show if you can facilitate that.
That would be absolutely perfect. But it's just so it's like, I mean, there's the actual rational sort of reaction to this is the performer is a born again Christian. The basis of Christianity is forgiveness and rebirth. So having somebody who used to do something sinful and the author again, Michael, something carnal and sinful, he literally describes this event and this performance as a sin against God. Because he's doing acrobatics without his shirt on.
I got a swimming pool, mate. It might, offend your senses. Go to a swimming pool.
Right. Don't tell him about nude beaches.
Don't tell him about university campuses. Oh my goodness me.
But being realistic, it is supposed to be the point of your Christian faith. Something that's like celebrated is like, look at these people who used to do something sinful and now they've turned to God and we're giving them a moment to shine on the stage. And most people seem to take it that way. And then a couple of insecure guys, Mark Driscoll and then Michael, I've forgotten his name again.
Michael
It's
Complainant.
okay.
Michael Brown.
Michael
Brown
Complainant.
and the complainant, Michael Brown and Mark Driscoll, both had some sort of, and I'm not going to guess at anybody's sexuality or repression, but for some reason they had some sort of instinctive reaction to this shirtless man that was way beyond anybody else's. And that has created, I think, one of the funniest bits of writing that I've probably read
All I
all
will
year.
say is I dread to think what they would have done if he was a fire breather. So, as the token male on this panel, Infidel, do you think that these two men are a representation of what it is to be, a secure, manly man that, knows what it's like to, be secure in who they are? Do you agree with that?
I have to harken back to something I brought up on a recent episode. Helen, I want to say you may have been on that episode where Jesse Lee Peterson and 3 other guys were talking about how the female orgasm, whether it was actually a real thing. And Peterson made the comment that it's not natural. If women have an orgasm, that's them trying to be a man. And they went through this whole absolutely insane thing. And that's pretty much what I got the feeling of. They would fit right in with this because all I could hear when I heard this is okay, so you can't please anybody. That's literally all I heard when I heard these people saying this. And that's what I kind of think Driscoll, and I think that's what this is really catered for. It's not catered for manly men. They might want to perceive themselves that way. But the truth is, what I see is just screaming insecurity. I expect to roll out in the parking lot and see, F950s in the parking lot. Forget E350s. I expect to see every symbolism of inadequacy out there in the parking lot.
Concealed carry pistol license on your
something.
hip and everything.
Yes, maybe have it tattooed on your forehead, because I see them as being exactly the opposite. Because if you're comfortable with who you are, manly man, whatever term you want to self-apply to yourself, then you don't need to constantly go around advertising, hey, I'm a manly man. Come on, get over it. You've already proven that that's what you're not once you started down that road.
Oh, I mean, I'm comfortable in myself. Infidel sounds comfortable in their self. I think Helen is comfortable in themselves, but the only person I don't think is comfortable is the only person living in Britain. And would you say that you're comfortable with that label? Are you? So, having read this, do you think that there is a sense of comfort in the Christian church, or do you think it is, codswallop and wackadoos throughout?
I think the fact that, because we know, we've talked about the homophobia inherent in this, right? We all know, and anyone who looks at this article or hears Mark Driscoll's complaints or any of these supposed people who were like blowing the internet up with their complaints about it, we all know that it's because the unstated, unspoken thing is that there was a man with his shirt off in front of a big load of men who, if they had any feelings about it, would repress them. And it's like nobody is who's talking about it and is angry about it is willing to say what the actual problem is, which is that it might awaken some gay feelings in a man in the room. But it's like they can't say it, and the fact that they can't even like explain out, it's carnal, it's gross. It's what if nobody in the room is gay, then it's not really carnal for a man to perform in front of other. It's the fact that they can't even say it shows the just deep insecurity, like Infidel was saying. There's no comfort in here. It does make me feel better about being comfortable in myself because I don't have to.
I'm with you there. I'm with you there.
Life.
It may have taken a while to get me to be comfortable in here, but as my mother would say, if you talk about something, so swearing is her favorite one. If you talk about it, discuss what those words are, they lose their power. They lose their grip on people. And I think that that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing a great big grip on people for the things that are happening that really shouldn't be happening. And I think that it's just one of those moments where you all go, hang on a second, what's actually going on here? And if you're repressing your feelings about this show, don't repress it anymore. Put them in the comments below.